Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mitchell Hour podcast. Kanye has been making his rounds. Kanye has been saying crazy things. You know, the same album rollout that he's been doing for the last several years. So he went on one of the worst interviewers that I've ever seen, in my personal opinion, Justin LeBoy. And he said some things that made sense and some things that didn't make a lot of sense. I jotted down some notes that I thought some things that stuck out to me. And the first thing that I could say that stuck out to me is I think that Kanye West has narcissistic personality disorder. That is a mental health condition characterized by a high sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy for others, amongst some other things. Now, that's just my opinion of watching an interview and, assessing his behavior for ever since I was in high school, pretty much. And I've been out of high school for over 20 years. The first point that I wanted to speak on, no matter how crazy the interview is, no matter how off topic from the question that he gets, if somebody brings up his children, you can tell his children level him out. He loves his kids. And personally, like I said, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but speaking from a man that has children and looking at this interview, he loves his kids and his kids level him out. He still has a little bit of crazy in him, but his kids level him out. And that's one of the first points that I wanted to bring up. Another thing that I realized is you can't criticize Kanye, as people call him. Even if the criticism is warranted, the criticism is on point, he knows it's on point. It's like if you criticize, like, example, his clothes. He is into this whole homeless look. And, he's selling the shirts for $20. The Yeezy Pods are $20. But if you criticize something like his clothing brand, which I feel like anybody can criticize anything, especially if they're paying money for it, he can't take criticism. He can sit on there and he can talk about any and everybody. But Kai Cenat criticized his clothing line, and now Kai Cenat he's an industry plant. He's backed by demons, and it's just a little ridiculous. Another thing that I realized from this interview is that J. Cole hurt his feelings. So I think Kanye's feelings is still hurt from False Prophets. That song was released on December 5th of 2016. Yes, he said some things about Wale, he said some things about, Kanye West. And from watching this interview, from the little meme that he put up, he's highly critical of others. And he's saying he doesn't listen to rap music. He don't know who's rapping this and who's rapping that. Then he goes on to name rappers and the name of the song. Let's go to him, Kanye, Ye, and Lil Durk's relationship. So after watching this interview, during watching this interview, Kanye was speaking about him and Lil Durk's relationship. And he said that Lil Durk sent him he sent him a verse. And Kanye West hit him up. It was like, yo, you can't say this. Like, why are you, talking about me on a song that I'm featuring you on? So, according to Kanye West, the lyric is, I took my Kanye West shirt and used it as a doormat. And when Kanye West had a problem with that, he hit up Lil Durk. And then Lil Durk said, he changed it to, I had my Kanye West hat and I gave it to one of my little hoes. And, you can tell that hurt Kanye a little bit. I think he likes Lil Durk. And when Justin LeBoy, asked him a question like, did that hurt you? And and he says, well, the love wasn't even there. I don't put enough love into anything to have it hurt me. I was disappointed. And then he went on to say he wasn't disappointed. So, like I said, I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, but it's just like during this whole interview, you could really tell that certain things he was talking about, he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the people that he talked about, he did have a sense of respect for, or he liked them, or had some love for the specific people. Kanye West and Drake have had a very weird relationship. Drake wrote for Ye wrote for Drake. They have both been on interviews speaking highly of each other. But I feel that I don't really think it has too much to do with Kim Kardashian. The reason I say that is because everybody have seen that sex tape. Everybody. You have to be a different type of individual to marry a woman whose only claim to fame is having sex with Ray J. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they have, they both egos are so large that they can't admit that they have love and admiration for a highly talented individual. And, most men have that problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't give another man a pat on the back and say, yo, good shit, bro. You doing your thing, because that would be considered glazing, as the young people say. But this whole infatuation that Drake and Ye have with each other is a little weird. And hopefully they can get past that one day. Kanye West speaks his mind. But that's not always a good thing. And another takeaway from the interview, towards the end, he says, nobody can tell me anything. I've slept with the most women. I've made the most money. There's no artist that's better than me. I am a god. His exact words. And I guess this far in the person's career, and as much success as he's had, and as much success as he's gave other people with helping them out, producing their record and stuff like that, I guess that's the way he feels. At this point in Kanye's career, he thinks he's so much higher than everybody else. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I think the only people at this point in time in his life that will ground him and that he will listen to is his kids. That's a good and bad thing. I don't think that Ye has any love or any admiration or any respect for anybody in the industry because of his personality disorder. And I feel like he has such a high sense of self that if somebody comes to him and gives him good ideas and says, hey, man, you can't say this. You can't, it might be true, but you can't say this. You can't say that. He is going to do exact opposite of what that person says. That's who he is. And he knows as soon as he drops an album, it's going to go number one. For everybody that talks about him in the media, on different platforms, they criticize him, they're going to also listen to his album. So that's one thing to think about. That this point in his career, he's not going to listen to anybody. So if anybody thinks that we're going to get that old Kanye back, that's not going to happen, because there's nobody that can ground him other than his kids. And if you're an older man and your kids are all young, what knowledge can your kids give you? You're supposed to be the one teaching them. The last point that I thought was very important, and this ties back to a point that I made about how sensitive he is a couple of points ago. Barack Obama called Kanye a jackass.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing?
Why would he do that?
He's a jackass. No, all this stuff.
He's still affected by that, because Justin LeBoy asked him in the interview, he said, hey, tell me somebody that you and your wife want to have a threesome with. And he said Michelle Obama. Like Michelle Obama, don't like Michelle Obama. That's your prerogative. That's what you want to do. You're entitled to your opinion. But to throw her name and said, I want to have a threesome with her and you got to screw the president's wife is very disrespectful. And I think since Barack called him out, that happened a long time ago and that's still affecting him. Instead of saying something about Barack, he brought up his wife. So in closing, I think people are so mesmerized by fame and money that they can't call a person out because they fear that they will get blackballed, they won't get the interviews, and they're more concerned about the clicks and the views and the money that they're going to make from interviewing somebody like Kanye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was my thoughts on the Kanye West interview. And I'm not a hypocrite. I can sit here and tell you that he has his issues, but I'm still going to check out the album. And hopefully he doesn't have that demonic chanting, because the last couple albums, especially Donda, it had the repetitive chanting, and I couldn't deal with that. I deleted that out the album on my phone. I don't do those type of things. Kanye West has severe mental issues and he needs help. So that's what I had to say. So I hope he gets the help that he need. This has been another episode of the Mitchell Hour Podcast. Until next time, I'm out.
Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And until